Hello and welcome back. As we draw closer towards the end of 2020, many of us gamers are looking to 2021 to see what adventures are set to release, stories are waiting to be explored, and arenas are going to pit player against player in shooting, slashing, PvP action. In this video, we'll be taking you through our top 10 most anticipated multiplayer titles due for release in 2021. And they will be in no particular order. Let us know in the comments which of these you're looking forward to, or if we missed a good one off the list. And if you feel like joining us for more gaming content, reviews, and first impressions, feel free to hit the sub button below and sit back each week as we review and play through all sorts of different multiplayer games.
Launching May 21st is the self-proclaimed next-gen shooter developed by Arcane Studios, the company best known for the Dishonored series, and published by Bethesda. A game that certainly looks like it's attempting to have a really unique outlook on the use of abilities with gunplay. It's set on an island called Blackreef, which is caught in an endless time loop that resets daily. This is, in their words, single-player gameplay injected with deadly multiplayer. One player plays as Colt, who is being hunted every day over and over, and must try to take out 8 targets on the island before the day is up to break the time loop, whilst the other player controls his rival assassin Juliana, who is desperate to keep this endless cycle going by hunting Colt down each day. So while every player will go through the normal campaign as Colt, you'll have the option to infiltrate other people's games as Juliana, creating a seamless gameplay loop. The game director has noted that they wanted to experiment with something different to Dishonored 2, and create a more intimate game centered around one big idea, one place, one challenge, one movement in time, and one relationship. I can't quite decide what to think about this. It will really need to be groundbreaking gameplay with elements that make each replay considerably different, or it may fall on its face. From what we've seen, however, it really does look promising, but only time will tell with this one.
Halo Infinite is a first-person shooter that takes place after the events of Halo 5 Guardians, and after a number of delays, the game's release is now due for 2021. The campaign of Infinite places you again in the shoes of the Master Chief, and you return to the ring in order to save humanity from an aggressive splinter group of the original Covenant, a group called the Banished. In a similar way to previous Halo games, there will also be multiplayer for those of you who prefer to take the fight to other people. And although there's not a whole lot of information available at this stage, I think this is one to keep an eye on. For me personally, I'm excited because of the good old days of Halo co-op and split screen, and in Halo Infinite they're bringing these things back. So for me, it's looking to be a perfect one to sit back and save the world with a friend.
Announced for a June 22nd release is Back 4 Blood, which sounds an awful lot like Left 4 Dead, don't you think? Well, maybe that's because the developers are one and the same. With what looks like a mixture of normal and special zombies, safe houses, and voice-acted camaraderie that any Left 4 Dead fan can expect, Back 4 Blood is a welcomed addition. Switching away from the outdated Source engine and using Unreal Engine 4, it seems the gunplay is being brought to the modern day with less hip firing and cleaner movement. You may be thinking, why was this not called Left 4 Dead 3? Because honestly, it looks like the same game, just modernised. The answer to that is Turtle Rock Studios have tried hard to incorporate new elements that change the experience, making it more of a spiritual successor. The character you pick has stats, which for example may provide higher HP and improved accuracy with weapons. There is also a roguelite element where you unlock cards while playing. These can then be played as perks for that session, such as when you stow your weapon it reloads, or your secondary weapon has unlimited ammo. As a big fan of Left 4 Dead, the fact that it now has so many dated elements has stopped me going back to it. So playing one in 2021 is something to really look forward to.
Dying Light 2 is the sequel to the successful zombie parkour survival title released in 2015. In Dying Light 2, the world is 15 years into a zombie virus which couldn't be contained. As a result, only a few pockets of human civilization still exist, and that last remnant of humanity is surrounded by an unforgiving, infected world that sent people back into the Dark Age. In the light of day, bandits, factions, and starving survivors scavenge what's left of the world around them through force or cunning, and by night the infected swarm the surface to prey on those unfortunate enough to be caught out in the open after the sun goes down. Dying Light 2 puts you in the shoes of an agile survivor, and uses the same parkour-style movements as the previous game. The story itself can be played with friends, and forces you to make tough decisions that have a real impact on the world you find yourself in. In the past, there have been quite a few games that implement cooperative play well, and as a result they create fun, memorable moments between you and your friends. If Dying Light can pull this off, and judging by the gameplay we've seen so far, I think this will be one of those games that creates those memorable moments.
From the creators of Vermintide 2, developers Fat Shark have expanded their take on the melee-focused Left 4 Dead-like co-op experience, Warhammer 40k Darktide, which will have you hacking and slashing your way through countless enemies from the Warhammer 40k lineup. The story will focus on the world of Atoma Prime, playing in a 4-player squad of Imperial Guards. Much like its predecessor, the use of melee will be a core playstyle throughout. However, Fat Shark have said that they'll be adding complexity to the ranged combat too this time round, so they are both suitable options. A lot of specifics are not yet fully known, but from what we've seen already of the gameplay and the history of both Vermintide 1 and 2, this is shaping out to be a winner.
Outriders is a 1 to 3 player co-op RPG shooter set in a dark sci-fi universe. Humanity have set out into the blackness of space to find a new home on a planet called Enoch. However, the planet, thought to be a lifeline for humanity, ended up consuming it. Here you'll have the ability to join your friends in drop-in, drop-out co-op to explore a story spread out over a large and diverse world, as you leave the slums of the first city and set out across mountain ranges, through forests, and over deserts in pursuit of your mission. This game is described as a combination of intense gunplay, aggressive powers split across 4 unique classes, and a rich RPG system alongside moddable and customizable gear. From the gameplay we've seen so far, it kind of looks like a mix between Gears of War and Remnant from the Ashes, and for me that's not too much of a bad thing. So if you're a fan of Gears of War, and you're looking for a game to jump into with friends, this might be one to keep an eye on in 2021.
If you're looking for a great medieval game, the original Chivalry was the standard for technical hand-to-hand combat, with steep learning curves and satisfying 1vx gameplay. And the sequel to this iconic multiplayer first-person slasher seems to be just around the corner, Chivalry 2, releasing as an Epic Store exclusive for a year before hitting the likes of Steam. They have revamped the combat system, including controlling the originally unintended dragging mechanic that veteran players were able to utilize to gain a huge advantage, essentially speeding up or slowing down attacks by dragging the mouse towards or away from their swing. This is now an intended and balanced core aspect to the combat in Chivalry 2, which is presented in a way that is more visually understandable to the average player. The game features battles of up to 64 players in an immersive environment inspired by medieval Hollywood movies and TV shows. They say this means they're not tied to strict historical realism, giving them more creative opportunity. Modes will include a number of multi-stage team objective maps, as well as deathmatch, with more to be added from release. If you like competitive systems where you're given the tools to 1vx players once your skill level is up to the task, then look no further.
Hood Outlaws and Legends now has an official release date in May 2021. The game is an 8-player PvPvE title set around objective heist-style missions, in which 2 teams of 4 compete against one another to complete different missions within a dark medieval PvE environment. This means that you'll not only have to deal with 4 other enemy players, but you'll also have to navigate enemy AI at the same time. From the looks of the small amount of gameplay released so far, Hood is going to need you to work as a synchronized team, rather than trying to leave your team behind and strike out solo. Within the game itself, you'll choose one of 4 unique and customizable classes, and these classes specialize in specific areas of the heist, each one bringing utility that no other class has. This means that building a balanced group will be core to mission success, and the multiple different types of completing your missions means that if you're a fan of infiltration or just brute force, it looks like there's going to be something for you. So if you enjoy the heist format in games like Payday, or you like the idea of jumping into a medieval world to fight another team and come out on top, this might be a good one to look out for in 2021.
Overwatch 2 was announced at BlizzCon 2019, with what seemed worryingly like just an updated Overwatch 1. Since then, however, Blizzard have made a number of attempts to make it very clear it's a standalone title. With news coming to BlizzCon on February the 19th about its 2021 release, here is what we know so far. Overwatch 2 is a co-op game set in a world in the midst of invasion by a faction called the Null Sector, where the heroes must band together in defense of their home. The game will have hero progression paths, allowing you to level each one up through a variety of content. Content such as a 4-player story mode and replayable hero missions, which will most likely make the bulk of your playtime. Veterans of Overwatch 1 rejoice, as unlocks such as skins, voiceovers and emotes will carry over from the original. Both games will be linked, Overwatch 1 being for PvP, and 2 being more PvE oriented. One thing's for sure, there'll be many eager eyes at BlizzCon next year.
As a lover of tactical shooters, Ready or Not looked interesting the moment I saw its gameplay. The game itself is set in the United States amid political and economic instability. During these troubling times, you play the role of a judge, a member of an elite SWAT team, and the guys who get called to tackle tense hostile situations. The focus of Ready or Not seems to be realism, from the way you maneuver around the map, handle weapons, engage hostiles, and even plan your missions. In this tactical shooter, you'll be rewarded for following certain rules of engagement. You'll encounter a movement system that aims to give you as much tactical control as possible, and before every mission you'll have the option to plan each step of the operation. To help you achieve all this and come out bullet hole free, you have equipment like ballistic shields, door rams, and ladders, as well as the ability to customize multiple aspects of your weapons, armor, and clothing. If, like me, you've been waiting for a modern equivalent of the old Rainbow Six games, this might well be the tactical shooter that can fill that void.
By the looks of things, whatever type of player you are, it seems there may be something for you to be excited about this coming year. This is just our most anticipated, but is by no means all there is to look forward to. Take a look at the links to each of the developers' websites in the description below, and let us know what you are looking forward to the most. We'll certainly be covering these in more detail upon release, so if you like what you see, hit that bell icon to keep up to date with the latest multiplayer titles. We're the Bullet Sponges, and we'll see you in the next one.
It's beautiful!